Purchasing an existing business can be one of the smartest moves you'll ever make. But here's what nobody tells you up front. Financing an acquisition is where most deals go to die. I've watched hundreds of business owners fall in love with a perfect acquisition target, only to spend months spinning their wheels trying to figure out how to pay for it. After years of helping entrepreneurs navigate acquisition financing, I can tell you this. The buyers who succeed aren't necessarily the ones with the most money or the best credit scores. They're the ones who understand how to structure deals using the right combination of SBA lending, seller financing, and buyer down payment, or those that bring advisors onto their team that know what they're doing. When you buy an existing business, you're not just purchasing equipment. You're assuming a revenue-generating entity with its own unique risks and complexities. I recently worked with a client who wanted to buy a manufacturing company. On paper, it looked great, but 60% of their revenue came from 2 customers with contracts expiring in 6 months. This completely changed our financing approach from a standard 90% SBA loan to a structure with significant seller financing tied to customer retention. Here's the winning formula for acquisition financing. SBA 7A loans typically cover 90% of the purchase price with 10-year terms and competitive rates. But here's the key. Not all SBA lenders understand acquisitions. I had a client trying to buy a restaurant through a lender that primarily does real estate. 3 months, no approval. We connected him with a restaurant acquisition specialist, approved in 4 weeks. Seller financing fills the gaps and shows seller confidence. When sellers agree to finance part of the deal, they're literally putting their money where their mouth is about the business performance. Buyer down payment is usually 5 to 10%, but the magic happens in how you structure the other 90-95%. Here are 3 structures I use repeatedly. 1. The standard. 90% SBA loan, 5% buyer injection, 5% seller note on full standby. 2. The balanced. 80% SBA loan, 10% seller note, 10% buyer injection. 3. High seller confidence. 70% SBA, 20% seller financing, 10% buyer injection. For customer concentration risks, I match the seller note to the risk level. 2 biggest customers make up 30% of revenue. We structure a 30% seller note with forgiveness clauses if those customers leave. There's also partial seller buyouts, where the seller stays involved and personally guarantees the SBA loan for 24 months while you transition into full ownership. This doesn't fit every situation, but we've already gotten several across the finish line this way. Here's what really kills acquisition deals. Wrong lender selection, using a commercial real estate lender for an acquisition. Unrealistic projections that lenders don't believe. Poor working capital planning beyond the purchase price. Sellers who won't provide complete financial records. Trying to rush a process that needs proper structure. Most business acquisition financing uses this 3-part formula. SBA lending for the majority, seller financing to fill gaps and align interests, and strategic buyer investment. But the success is in the details, which SBA lenders specialize in acquisitions, how to structure seller notes that actually work, and when to use partial buyout structures. If you're serious about acquiring a business, you need specialists who know how to structure deals that SBA lenders will approve quickly. We know which lenders want acquisition deals, how to present them properly, and how to structure creative solutions when standard approaches don't fit. Ready to structure your acquisition financing the right way? Visit spalowenshq.com or comment below with your specific acquisition question. The perfect business is waiting for you. Let's make sure you can actually buy it.